So, in keeping with Elon Musk's promise to bring transparency to Twitter, he's just allowed Dave Rubin to spend a couple of days at Twitter headquarters. Here's the headline: Elon Musk gives Dave Rubin behind the scenes look at Twitter and what causes shadow bans. Rubin says accounts are hit with secret labels that limit engagement. So I guess the question is that it does seem that there's censorship, needless censorship, the kind of censorship that Elon Musk said wasn't going to happen. It's still happening on Twitter. And it's sounding a bit like the Twitter code is something of a Frankenstein's censorship monster. It's kind of a genie that's hard to put back in the bottle. It says here, political commentator Dave Rubin received a behind-the-scenes look at Twitter and why the code that owner Elon Musk called a, quote, flaming dumpster rolling down the street continues to limit engagement for some users. So this isn't officially part of the Twitter files, but this does give us an insight into Twitter's past and what they're doing now to try and rectify the mistakes of the past. Let's go to Dave Rubin's thread on Twitter, of course, detailing this. He said, spent the last 2 days at Twitter in San Francisco talking to engineers, product managers, and yes, Elon Musk. Learned a ton about what's going on. Before I share, want to note that after a couple-hour meeting, I asked Elon what I could share, and he said, quote, anything that's true. This really is the kind of transparency that you're never going to see at Google. You're never going to see it at Facebook. You're never going to get a behind-the-scenes look at YouTube. Not going to happen, so enjoy this while it lasts. So let's get into the thread. Quote, a fractal Rube Goldberg machine. What's a Rube Goldberg machine? It's a complex contraption designed to complete a simple task. The machine uses a set of tasks that work in succession and trigger one event after the other until the final event. So a complex contraption designed to complete a simple task. So something that's way more complicated than it needs to be. That's what Elon Musk called Twitter. As they fix the code, more problems arise. A delicate balance he likened to a Jenga tower. One wrong move, the whole thing collapses. They're working nonstop, and both times I met him were after midnight. Yeah, this is what I hear, is that he basically never stopped working. And when you're running Twitter, Tesla, Starlink, the Boring Company, yeah, I guess you don't have much time to rest. I think it's probably not for everybody, right? I met with several engineers who were doing a deep dive on why my account and so many others seemed to be absolutely crushed after that 2 or 3 week return to normalcy when Elon first took over. They still have more questions than answers, but they did learn a bunch of stuff. Accounts aren't just hit with labels that are obvious to insiders. They now found more secret labels, which are causing shadow bans. My account was hit with all three, quote, recent abuse strike, recent misinformation strike, and recent suspension strike. It's unclear so far what these strikes actually do, but for sure they suppress views and recommendations. They are trying to figure out to what extent. I also had many innocuous tweets labeled NSFW or NSFA, not safe for ads, which affect visibility in the timeline. Also, there's an entire keyword database so that machine learning makes sure not to promote violence, prawn, etc., but it's a mess of overreaching words. Literally, the word gay was on the word key list, which would make you not advertiser friendly and harm the tweets in the algorithm. Backing up for a sec, they found the, quote, recent suspension strike on my account most interesting because it was from July 2022, when I was suspended for calling out Jordan Peterson's unjust suspension. So although the suspension was reversed, the action on the account remained. And here he gets to Elon's involvement. He said, Elon was bringing people in and out constantly and seems to be aware of pretty much every issue. He thinks maybe the entire code has to be torn down and start from scratch. At the end last night, he said that the whole situation is, quote, a flaming dumpster rolling down the street. Yeah, and the thing that's burning in that dumpster is money. So I assure you that they are aware of the problems, and Elon and engineers are there all night trying to untie this crazy knot. So it sounds like they were so eager to censor that they kept adding more and more censorship until they just lost control of the thing. And now it's just something that, this ball of string that nobody can unravel. And that may be why you're seeing actions from Twitter that seem to contradict their new mission statement. You've got an algorithm that was taught to be a, hypersensitive critical studies professor, and it's not so easy to undo the damage. They also don't know for sure why things got so much better once Elon made the acquisition and why it seems far worse now. Some is probably related to excitement around Elon himself, which also coincided with the World Cup. But that doesn't explain why it feels so off right now. He says, on a personal note, Elon is funny as hell, laughs a ton, and it's just really obvious he cares about Twitter because he cares about free speech and the bigger problems facing the world. He doesn't need this headache. He chose it. And he says here, the engineers opened up their computers, showed him literally everything he asked for, and were total pros. And that Elon really lit up when he talked about the shifting political landscape and how anyone non-woke is now far right. That notion is deeply connected to how screwy things got at Twitter, and he's working to fix it despite the huge challenges ahead. And then, and frankly, they got to get that company out of San Francisco. And shows this video here, which just does look horrible, doesn't it? And it's sad because, San Francisco should be one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And we're getting to the end here. It says, what's also really crazy, now having seen under the hood, is that Jack Dorsey repeatedly said they don't shadowban. The entire machine behind Twitter is designed to shadowban. It's almost as if that was the primary goal rather than the product itself. And then here's the final tweet, a perfect illustration of how crazy things are. A friend of mine just sent this to me. Watch the retweets go up and then suddenly go down. So that's very interesting, isn't it? Again, it looks like the Twitter code, it's just this Frankenstein's monster of censorship. It's like if Hell 9000 was just only worried about people being misgendered. Anyway, please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I'll see you next time.